Let's get started demo first of hotel management system using that's all beginner C# concept. So here my application got running hotel management system which have these are facilities like user can book the room, user can view the room availability, user can check out that room, and user can exit this application, right? So let me start for that, room ability. Like if option is 2, so let me put as a 2 as option, and once I hit enter, now see it is showing me there is a 5 rooms, right, which are available. And after that again it is showing those options, like again what do you want again, right? So this application got running, keep running, is any option you will choose till until you can choose the 4, right, which is exit. So now what I will do, I want to once I check this room availability, so I want to check, I want to book that room. So I want to book the room 104, right? So let me choose 1, and once I want, so now it is asking me like enter your guest name, right? So now I suppose uh, put that some name like Tom, and once I hit enter, now it is showing the room along with that price, right? So I want to choose like 104 room, so I have to select 104, hit enter. Now see it is saying a room 104 booked successfully, right, and welcome to this hotel management system. That's it, right? And then if I book the room, then again if I want to check that room availability, like how many rooms are available now, so let me put as a 2. So once I hit enter, now see you will see whatever room I booked, so that is booked except all that rooms. So those all are room is available until uh, except this 104, right? So now if I want to check out, so definitely I have to choose this line in options 3. So once you put as a 3, so that room will be check out. So now see once I choose that 3, so now see it is saying welcome to the hotel management system, right? And no, actually now see over here they asking actually that number, room number, which room number you want to check out. So previously I booked 104, so definitely I have to put that 104. Once you hit enter 104, now it is saying room uh, room 101 is successfully removed from this booking list, right? And now if you want to check again like that room is proper checkout or not, so let me put is 2, option 2, and then see all that room is now available, right? So these are complete hotel management system. And if you want to exit this application, so you can just exit as well. Like if you place the 4, so once I hit enter, now yeah, it is saying thanks for using the hotel management system and welcome to the hotel management system, right? So now it is exit. So now this way you can you can just build applications, this hotel management application using this that beginner concept. So that how we have to understand as a in our real world example. So let's get start implementation. So just open actually two things be required. One is that your operating system, and then second things you have to record installation one IDE. So I prefer over here as a Visual Studio 2022 over there, but there's another things also you can use it Visual Studio Code, because that is a lightweight thing. So I already explanation like how we can install that Visual Studio 2022 and Visual Studio Code. So those things you can check out my channel, which is .NET Real World Example, and you will find out like how we can install this IDE. But yeah, definitely I'll show you a little bit over here. Like just go to the Google, just find into Visual Studio 2022, you will get this link, and go to that final link, and you just free install like community version. It is just free for as a student and open source, and you can just install it and download. Same things if you want to Visual Studio Code download, so you can just download based on their operating system. So once you set up, now we are good to go to start our implementation. So let me try to open my Visual Studio over here. Now see, this is my Visual Studio, and over here what I will do, there's a options over here as a create a new project. So I will just create a new project over here, and first of all I'll just create one solution. So let me find a solution. So solution, now see, I am just finding over here as a blank solution. So let me just create a blank solution, because inside that blank solution we will create a many of that project, like what we have seen the agenda, right? So there is a couple of part, so those part we will use in this blank solution. So see, there's a actually all that project create a solution, and inside solution we can create multiple projects. So solution would be one only, and inside the solution we can create a multiple projects. So let me just create first solution. Let me create a solution, and here I will just create, for example, C# concepts, right? C# concepts, and let me add a demo, or I think that's fine. Yeah, let me add a demo and just create it. So once you create it, now see, your solution got created over here, right? There's a nothing over there. So what you can do, suppose I want to create something inside the solution on a different project. So right click on that in this solution, you can just go to that option add, and you can just create a new project or existing project, whatever things you want. So you can just adding over here and creating and adding over there, right? So but what I will do, I will separate first, like that concept wise, right? So let me just create some folder over there, like for example, let me create first, it is a beginner concept, right? So I will just use as a beginner. So let me rename it over there, right click on that, rename it, and just add the beginner concept. Now see, now I just created a solution. Now I just add some folders, so that I can, whatever the beginner concept, I will add inside this beginner folder, right? So that's why I just created, and then finally I will start to add a new project. So let me add a new project. So click on add and new project, and now you have to look for that console app. So as of now I will use that console app, but later on I will use that other application, like MBC application or Blazor application or whatever that Microsoft provide. So those application also I will use same concepts, so that you can understand easily. But yeah, this is first time as a new student or new learner, so that definitely will be help. So I will create a console app. So next, and once you create a, here actually asking to that project name. So I will give that project name. So as of now I will just keep it that hello world, because I'm just trying to use as a hello world over there, so that this is that hello world application, where you can understand like what look like in the project and the console application is created and how need to work on that. So hello world, right? And then next, and now see, after that you will get this screen, right? And here they will ask like what framework. So what is that framework? So framework means actually Microsoft provide on a different framework, like for example, as of now I'm using that core. So there's a code framework like it is starting from 2.1, 3.1, and then 6.0, 7.0, 8.0. So 8.0 is a long term support, but yeah, they recently introduced in .NET 9, so I will start it for .NET 9. There is no difference over there to learning in C# concept for over here, but yeah, some little new concept is coming from here .NET 9, so you can use also .NET 8, 7 as well. But yeah, I will use a .NET 9. And once you choose a .NET 9, then there is a few things over there, like see, container, it is by default taking on Linux, and then it is also disable, actually disable mode, so it will not using anything over there, right? Because it is understanding like this is our window applications, and I'm not using anything. But yeah, there should be an options like where I can just enable, but yeah, as of now it is disabled, that is keep it. But yeah, if you see this to another options, what is that option? Now do not use the top level statement. So as of now by default this Microsoft provide that a top level statement, right? That means there is no any main function over there, so that is a top level statement. Like in previously, if you see, if I use .NET 8 or if I use if I check that, okay, no issue, that let me understand you, like once I create the top level and statement and without that. So let me just add first top level statement. So click on that, and that another one is like if you want to enable this native AOT publish, so it will actually just enable that native AOT publish, so it will reduce your package and all, and also performance. So that I'm not using, but it is a published part, so let's keep it as same. And once I use that check label, check that use label, so create on that. So once I create, I'll show you what does mean of that. Okay, now see, once I create a new console application, you see this is a project, this is actually project, and this is a dependency section, and this is a main file, this is a started file, so program.cs file. So this is a look like of a structure of that console application. And if you expand this guy, now see the dependency, because whatever that project dependencies, it will appearing in this dependency section. So if you'll see, as of now, this is dependent only just one library. This is a Microsoft.NET Core app, and it have many DLL and all it is required for this application, this console app. So that's why they predefine, they edit all this guy over here, right? And if you want a additional framework you want to add, so you can just add it in this dependency section. Also, this is an analyzer, so whatever that analyzer attribute and all they actually using over there. And then go to that program.cs file. Now go open this, double click on that. Now see, it is creating a namespace. So this is the namespace, whatever our project name, it is just create as a namespace, and then it is just create a class. Don't worry about as of now, because we will learn what is that class and all as of now. I will just keep it commented over here, but yeah, just make it a class, and then it will just create it a main function, right? So this is our entry point, this is a main file, and this is our entry point. So once your application will run, always it is looking for that main method in this program file, and they will start to execute this line, right? And for the execution line, it will be using in the static class, it is a console.writeLine, and whatever write inside that writeLine, you will add it that your text, it will display in the outline. So let me run it and show it to you. Run this application. Also you can run this application like two way. Now see, once you run this application, whatever that console output I just printed out, so this is just printed over here, right? So let me close that. And now see, for running mechanism, if you see over here in the top, this is a setup, right? And this is a two things, like this is a debug mode, and this is another play button, but is a without debugging mode. So if you click that over here, if you run this way with the debug mode, so you can just debug as well. So let me try to debug, like me putting the debugging point over here, right, directly over here, or you can just F9 over there. So let me run this with the debugging point, and now see the debugging point over there, and also output is there, but nothing is printed, right? Because as of now your application got running, and it is going to starting point, it is a main, and then it is reaching over here, but it is not writing or printed this line. So let me show you that over here. So if you F10, so this is actually the debugging style, like see over here, this is the debugging mode. If you want to stop the debugging, also if you want to the next line, so step over, and that is step out, right? So this is the way actually you can just forward your debugging point. So I'm using F10, and once you go again over here, so let's see, again nothing is printed, because this line execution part is going to over here. So once I just F10 one more time, so it should be printed. Now see, because this line is got executed, and it is got printed over here, over there. And once you just continue this guy, and you will see this is that complete output, right? So this is that debugging point, and this is that entry point. And also one more thing I would like to describe, like this project, right? So just double click on that. Once you double click this project in C# console application, now see, you are able to see this SDK you are using, Microsoft.NET SDK you are using, and this is a property group section which will using that output type as a exe, and target framework, whatever target framework we are using .NET 9, and that implicitly using like enable, right? So whatever the using statement, if I using this guy, so this is a setting actually. And also we have mentioned like, okay, nullable, whatever the property is nullable, so it will actually prompt. So that's why I'm using this enable. So these are settings. So that is the way. And also I would like to share like these things, like see, as we see from that starting, that top level statement, if I checked, right? So if I check, so always it will create like this way. If I uncheck, like let me just create another application to understand. So right click on that, go to that new project, let me create a console app, next, and just hello world again, without top level, right? Top level, right? And then next, once you next, now this time what I will do, I will uncheck. So I will take a without don't use the top level statement, right? So let me just create it and see what happened. Now see, if you compare this one, this is that file again, everything is creating same, the project structure and program file and all everything, but only difference is over here. Now see, this is that with the top level statement, it is just creating a program class and then main class, and then you can just writing your code, right? But here just nothing, just you can simply your print it whatever thing you want as output, so you can just print it, right? So this is actually different for top level and non-top level. So let me run this guy also. So if you just, okay, just select this project, okay, again, now see, if you this one solution have that multiple project, you can check it over here as well, like in this section you will see whatever project over here, you will get it. And now right now this, now if you closely observe over here, so now see, this is just highlighted, that means this application is a selected mode, and whatever time you will run, this application will be run, right? This console application will run. But if you want to select this one, if you want to run this application, so how you can change it? So there's a two way. Right click on that particular project, you can using that set as a started project, and there's another way, you can just select it, this guy, and once you select it, now see, this will be highlighted. So let me run this guy again in the debugging mode. You will get a same output, like see this hello world, and also same thing, you can just debugging as well, like put the debugger point and just run this again debugging mode. So once you debug, now see, again it is reaching over there, but nothing over there. Once you F10, and you will see the output is over there, right? This is actually different for this guy. So that's all for this session, this agenda session. So now next we will learn like whatever the beginner concept we see in agenda, right? So we will just create one by one and we will run it. Now we will start our another concept, which is part one of the variable and the data types. So let me just create another application, another project, create on that, create a console application, and here let me use at a name so that you can easily understand. Like see, I'm just creating a name, part one, variables and data types, so that we will learn actually what are they and how we can use it. So next, and I'm using the same default settings over here and create it over there, right? And just go to that program.cs file and remove everything. We will show it from that scratch, right? So what are the variables, right? So variables are used to store the data, and each variable must have a specific data type that defines the kind of the data it can be hold, right? So what that means, so let me just try to create a property or just in a field, like for example integer age, and this is just a variable. So I just create a, this is a data type, and this is just create a variable and just hold the data like this way. Now I can hold the data, and the age I can store the data at 30, right? Similar, if I use another property, like another type, there's another type is a float. Let me create a variable like heigst and then height something, for example 5'9" float, because see this is I'm using float, so I have to add this app. But yeah, in our other application, in the console application, actually we need to declare, but yeah, in this MVC and all, we don't require that. And this is height, and this height also. Now see, also actually one thing I want to tell you, like age integer, if I using the integer, so that means it will accept that all that number, like all that whole numbers. You can't add is an integer, like for example abc and all, or just string, like so this is that string, so it should not be hold it over there, right? So if I define integer, so that means it is taking only number, like for example this. Similar, if I using height as a floating number, so it will accept it only just floating number, which will which will accept the decimal number with the single precision. And what is that single precision? That means it will take 32 bit, 32 bit. And similar, if I just use another type, like for example double, there's another type is a double, and let me create a variable name and just store some data. So I'm just storing the data of the double, and this will be decimal number with the double precision, and it will actually storing 62 sorry 64 bit, right? And then we have another property, or another type is character. So let me add that character over here, like using this, not this guy, simply char, right? And then we can store as a grade, as a variable, and then simply I can add whatever that single character. You can't use the multiple character because it is a character. It will accept only just single character. Similar, there is another type, for example bool. So in this bool, like for example is active, and in this is active, you can accept it over here as a true or false, like this way. So I can use it as a true, but yeah, we can use it as a false as well. So this boolean property accepted true and false as a data. And then if I moving to another property or another type, that is call it that is string. So this is a string type, and make it as a variable name as a name, and you can use as a string now, because this is a string. So you can add like something, my name is, or just we can just .NET real world example, .NET real world examples, right? And this is a string type. And then another type also we have object. So this is actually that unknown type, or we can say any type, they will accept it over here. Like for example, if I want to add like a string type, my name is this, right? And also it will accepted integer, like for example 32 or 42, right? So like this way we can add it, we can define our variable and data types. So this is actually in C# data types. And let me run, actually let me print it this data in our output, right? So how we can do that? Simply we can use that shortcut CWT, and it is actually just console write line, and we have to show those data, like for example this is called interpolation, so that I can show it that all that data, like whatever that property, whatever the fields value I want to show it over here. So like for example name, so I just use it at name, and then just column, and here using this parentheses, I can use it that name. For example, this is my name, I use it that name, and this comma, then again whatever that age, suppose for this is that age, and in this age you can just mention that age. Similar, what other things like height, right? So let me use height, and in this height I'll mention that height, whatever that height property, like height. And then what else, now grade, right? So let me add a grade value and use grade, this is that grade. and yeah, and rest all also you can just print out, like for example is active also, just we have is active, like is active. But yeah, let me just break down this one so that you can easily see it over here. So active one, and just mention is active dot our others property, like okay, price, we have that price also. So let me add a price and just mention that our price value over there. And then one last things over here, we have use a object, right? So let me use that object, and in this object we have to define that object value like obj, right? And that's it. So save it, and once you run, so before run again you have to select it, this part one, whatever that project, like should be highlighted, this guy, and just run it as a debugging mode. So once you run, now see, name whatever that value we storing, so it is appearing over here. Age, whatever age we define. Height, whatever height. Grade, active is false. Price, and object, whatever object we have defined, right? So like this way you can just add your data type and data and data types and variables, right? And the concept wise, you can, if you closely look over there, so concept wise, variables, whatever the variables hold the data, different types store different data, right? Like different types and different data, and also a specific type are that defined. So as a concept wise, if I tell you that one line in a short, so variables hold the data, different types store different data, like number, text, or original or logical values, right? So those are actually those are variables, right? We will moving to that next session, which is that implicit and explicit data type casting. So right click on that, this solution project, and create a new project and create a console app. And in this console app we will just add a project name like part 2 implicit and explicit data type casting. Next, and using the same default, and now moving and removing everything over here, right? And if I talk about little bit what is that implicit and explicit data type casting, so in the C# implicit casting happen automatically when a smaller type is converted to a larger type. Explicit casting is the needed when the converting from a larger type to the smaller types. What does mean? Let me just again just explain over here. Like suppose for example, let me just create a variable integer or var, right? Let me create a variable and data type like 10 over here, just storing as a data type and store the value. And similar, I'm just creating another variable, for example double, right? And using this double var as a variable name, and use this value integer 2 over here, right? So once you see, this is an integer and in the double, but I'm using I'm just simply assigned to this double over here, so no need for cast, it is happening automatically. So that means actually that implicit casting. So implicit casting automatically will be converting your data type. So this integer I'm just over here, this is automatically converting. And if I want to print it over here, so like for example, let me print it over here as a double over there and save it, and now run it. So before run again, I have to select this project and run this guy. So once I run, now see, whatever the data type was over there, like data is 10, so it is just converting as a data type automatically, and it is output or it is a 10, right? So like this way you can just converting your integer type to double automatically. So this is a implicit casting. Now if I talk about that explicit casting, so here again let me just create a double, and using double val, right? And here just add some number over here, some value, like is a double, whatever double value, just using over here. Now again, whatever just previously see integer to double, we just converted integer to double, but now this time what I will trying to do, I'm trying to do double to integer. So let me just try to converting to as an integer. So let me create a int val, right? Let me use the val, and here if I just simply assign to this value over here, now see I'm getting that error, right? So it is saying cannot implicit convert type double to integer, and explicit conversion exists, right? So that means you can't convert it to double to integer directly. So for this we have to manually convert it, right? Whatever double to integer, so that is call is a explicit casting. So let me try to casting. So how we can casting over here explicitly. So you can just simply use this guy. Now see whatever type over here, you can just cast like this way. So this is the way you can just simply casting over there, right? And that's it. And let me just simply print it this value, and it will be it will be actually given that output of that integer value, like this is that integer value. So this double actually using that pointing value, right? So but it is just returning. So let me run it and show it to you in output so that you can better understand. So let me run it, and once you run, now see I'm getting 9, because see the integer only accept that integer value, not a decimal value, right? So we are casting properly, but if you casting, so we can lose it this point out value. So but yeah, this is that call mechanism and a concept of implicit and explicit. So this is implicit casting automatically, and explicitly we have to forcefully and manually converting to data type, right? So that is done. So if I describe as a concept in a one line, so implicit casting occur automatically when a smaller type fit into a larger one, right? And while explicit casting required you to specify the conversion. So this is actually that proper definition or concept. That's all for this session, and for next session we will cover that basic operations. And now we are moving to that basic operations. So let me start that basic operation. So right click on that this folder and create a new project, create a new console app, and here let me just add just create a name, like for example this is I think part 3, I guess. Yeah, this is part 3. Next I use the same, and once you just create it, let me remove everything over here, and now we can start to basic operations. So before we start the basic operations, let me share you that definition of that basic operation. So C# provide many operation to perform a basic like arithmetic, compressions, and logical operators and assessments. So those are actually we will learn over here one by one. So first we will understand like what are that arithmetic operators. So if I talk about that arithmetic operator, so let me just create a variable again. Let me use integer, and again just using this guy, like for example v variable, and using something like that. Okay, so now I just storing I just created 2 variables, and in this variable what I will try to do, I will just arithmetic means that whatever I want to add, update, delete, like add, subtraction, divide, and also taking the percentage and all. So those performance I can using in this arithmetic operator. So let me build it over here like console application, and here let me just add like for example let me add operations like for a and b I want to add it, right? So now I'm using this additional operator, right? And then similar, if I want to subtract, so I can use like this way, like if I use that subtraction, so I can use that a and b minus, and then if I want to multiplication, so I can use like this way, like whatever the right line I'm using, and then a into v, right? And similar, if I want to divide that particular two number, so I can use it as a divide, right? And similar the also is a we can just we can take a percentage over here. So I can just take an average on the two variables, so I can use this symbol. So this is called actually arithmetic operator. And let me save it and just choose my project and run this application and see. So once you run this application, you will get, see, additional is an 10 and 3, it is 13, that is fine. And for subtraction, 10 minus 3, it's 7, that is fine. Also multiply, for multiply it is 10 into 3, it is 30. And division also, like 10 minus 3, like it is just taking on a 3, that is also fine. And just like modules wise, or we can say this, what is that, that remain value, right? So if I just 3 upon 10 or 3% is a 1, so average on all 1, right? So this is perfectly fine. So this is called actually arithmetic operator. Then like this way, actually in C# we can define our arithmetic operator, right? And if I talk about the concept, so basic arithmetic operations to manipulate numbers value, right? So we are trying to manipulate in this arithmetic value. And now moving to that another part, that is called that comparison operation. So let me show you it over here. Now see, this is another concept on this basic operation, the comparison operator, right? And here we can just equivalent, we can not equal, less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. Those are actually called as a comparison operators. So let me just define again the two variables, and we will just define, and we will use this two variable into as a comparison operator. So first I will compare with this two, with it is equal or not. So let me try to write down like this way, it is equal or not, this x is equal to for 10 or not, so that we will give that output. And then again we will use another one, like if it is not equal to, so that we will output. And then also it is a greater than, and also then less than, and then we can just finally greater than or equal to also we can define over here, right? So like this way we can define this comparison operator, comparison operator. And let me run this application and see an output. Now see, this equal, that means it is false because 5 is greater than of y, right? And then second, it is not equal to, yes, it is not equal to, that means it's true. And then it is a greater than y, it is false because it is not a greater than, because it is less than. It is a less than, right? Yeah, it is a true. And then finally it is a greater than, equal to, then it is a false again. So like this way we can use that comparison operator in C# concept. So if I talk about that concept in one line, so used to that compare value and return the bool result true or false, right? This is actually concept. Okay, now moving to next operator, which is called logical operators. So what are the logical operators? Now see, logical operator like called is like this way, like AND operator, OR operator, and not equal to operator, right? So we can just define as a two variable, and let's see how we can compare those variable, and we can identify this logical operator. So now see, I'm just using this bool property and a bool variable for m and n, which is true, and n for the false. And here what I will try to do, I will just try to check, like it is AND, right? So this is an AND operator. So if it is AND m and n, right? So if it is AND operator, it is true or false, whatever things, so it will be giving the output, right? Like for example, m is a true, but n is false. So m is true and AND is false. So if it is both condition will be true, then it will be given the true. But if it is if any condition is false, so that means it should be written as a false. So now it is a false, so that means it will return as false, right? And then another operator is OR operator. So in this means uh, one of the conditions should be true. Like suppose it is, if it is true, either this one should be true or either this one is true. So this is called as an or operator. So one of the condition is true, so that means it's written be true. And similar, it's a not operator. So not operator, that means, for example, this guy. So I am taking as a m, so it is true. So that means if it is not operator true, that means it should be returning false, right? So these are called actually that logical operators. So let me run this application and see in output. And now see, first one, it is false, right? Because both should be a true, because it is a or and operator. And then second one is a or operator, so it should be one of the true, so it is fine, so that's why it is true. And then last one also, it is not equal to m, that means it should be a false, right? So that's where it should be a false, so that means it should be true. So this is called logical operator. So if I describe the concept of this logical operator in the one line, so logical operator are used to combine or invert boolean expressions, right? So now moving to the another operator in this basic operation, basic operator, so that is called assign operators. So what are that assign operators? So assign operators are like equal, equal, assign means whatever that assign value using that equal, plus equal, minus equal, equal, and then backslash and equal, right? Like let me just now give that practical example. So let me just create one variables over here again. So I will use as a integer p, and then first what I will use, I will just try to adding some value over here. So how we can use it? I can use this assign operator. So simply I can use this p plus equal and then 3. What it's mean, like suppose see p, whatever p variable is 5. So now it is 5. Now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to add this variable like 3. Like so for example, this could be p is 5 plus 3, right? So like this way we can use assign operator. So that means it will assign along with the equal, right? So that means whatever value we will trying to assign, even be trying to additional as well. So that is called actually assign operator. And then if I want to output or this value, so let me just try to output this value, whatever that output. So let me use that console right now and using this p. And now what I'm trying to do, suppose I want to suppose it is just additional, I just add additional. So if I want to multiply, so how we can achieve that? So again, simply we can use this as this guy and then assign. And if I want to 2, and then we just simply write line p and see it should be 16, right? Like suppose as of now p, what is that, p 8, right? Because it till here I'm assigned that value p is a 8, but after that what we trying to do, we trying to do multiply over there, so it should be 16, right? Like for example, it should be over here 8 into 2, like that. So let me run this application and see. So once you run this application, now see first is 8 and now second is we're trying to assign and multiply with 2, so it should be 18. So like this way actually we can use that assign operator. And if I talk about a concept of this assign operator in a one line, in a short, so these operators modify the value of the variables. That the means, okay? And yeah, for that's it for this session. And for next session we will cover like control flow statement. Now we will move it to another concept which is called control flow statement. So let's start implementation. So right click on that, go to that new project and add a new console application. Next, and then make it a name over there, so which is called part 4 and control flow statement. Next, keep it same, create and remove from there, okay? And now we'll start that control flow statement. So before start, just we have to know the definitions and what is that control flow statement. So control flow allow that program to make decisions and repeats actions, and there is a couple of concept as well in the control flow. So one of the one first concept of over here, that if else. Okay, so let me start on a practical so that we can understand easily. So first of all, let me start and declare a variable as a score, and then we'll start the if statement. So what is that if statement? So let me write it down over here, and then make it this guy suppose 90, right? I make a conditions over here inside that if conditions, and we will just, if it is match these conditions, right? So whatever that is score, suppose the score is more than 85, right? Or it is 85. So if it is match these conditions, so then we have to print out this value. Else we will check another conditions over here, right? So see, that's why we are using else if, right? Suppose if, always be checking starting from if, like conditions, and then if I want to compare like one of the value of the in this series, right? So definitely we have to record else if, so that it will check from here. If it is not matched, then it will went to on this condition else if, and then once I can meet the conditions over here, like for example 75, right? And in this 75, if I just put some variables over here, some output, like okay, it should be a grid B. Suppose if it is match this condition, so it will returning this one and return back to that applications. And then finally, if it is not match any conditions in this complete flow, so then what I need to do, I have to just set it some default value for this conditions, right? So like this way, suppose match this condition, so it will returning this. If it is match this condition, returning this. If it is does not match any of condition, then finally in the it will bend to else block and it will returning as a default value. So that is called actually if else, right? And let me run this application and see in a example and as output. So choose that part 4 control flow statement and run this application. As of now we have 85, right? So it should be bent, it should be when this conditions, it should be match actually the else if conditions. So run it, and now see it is grade B. That means 85 is less than 90 and it is greater than 75, right? So that condition match, and that's why it's printed over here. And similar, I can just debug over here and I can show it over here like how actually execution of over here. So let me run it one more time over here. So now see, once you run, it is reaching over here, and once over here, now see 85, it is 85 but it is greater than, so it will bend to another execution over here. So now see it is matching over here, so it will go to inside this web and print out and showing that output like this, right? So this is actually that concept of if else if, right? And now moving to another concept, but before that actually let me tell you that what does mean of this concept in a one line, in a short. So conditional statement to control the flow based on that conditions, right? So this is a one line of concept. And then moving to next concept, which is switch case over here, which is part of this control flow, right? So this is another concept of switch case and default, right? So how we can use it, like, so let me start in a practical. So again, let me just start a variable or declare a variable over here, right? And then once you declare a variable, we have a switch over here. So let me define as a switch, and in this switch let me pass whatever that variable over there, right? So in this variable, now see in this switch by default it is saying it is the case 1, right? So whatever case you want to define, you can define over here. Not only this integer, if you want to define as another type also, you can define it. For example, let me define first in the complete code, then I'll explain like how we can change it to this type. So in this case one, right, so what I will do, I will just, if it is match this case, right, if it is match the case, so it should be print out over here, and then finally it will break it, right? Similar, I can just I can just similar, I can use case 2 and then just print out some value over here, then case 3, and also case 3 something value I want to print, right? So not only this guy, right? So I'm just giving one example for the day, right? So similar we can use it, our that another example, like January, February, and a year, month, right? So those also we can use it. And then finally, see, suppose whatever case it's meet, it is fine. If it is not meet, so we have to set some default. So this is default, and here what I can do again, which simply whatever the default message, whatever default output we want to print out, so we can simply show it over here like this, say. So now okay, let me just formatting this one. Okay, so see, if it is match case 1, so it will returning this value. It will match this case, so it will returning this value. If it is match this case, it will return video. If it is does not match any value from this case, so it will go to and print out, or it will returning to default value, right? So this is actually way to switch case and default concept, right? And let me run this application and see. So now see, okay, now it is a debugging mode, so let me remove the debugging mode, continue, and once you continue, now see, I'm getting that value Wednesday, because see, I'm just set the value is 3, so 3 is where 3 is match this case, and this case returning Wednesday, so that's why it is output is Wednesday, right? So like this way. So that is fine. Then what I can do, simply if I change something else, like for example 1, so it should be match over here, right? And let me run this again. Now see, it is match over here. Now it is goes to Monday. And similar, if I just change to 0, because this is not part of any of case, so what would be happen? It would be returning the default value, like invalid day, right? So like this way we can use it, utilize this switch case statement, right? And yeah, also I just told you, like only not support it to integer. If I want to like for example is another type, so that also I can use it. For example, instead of integer, let me use a string. And for example, if I use a Jan, right? So if it is Jan, and just remove this guy and just declare a variable, for example month, right? And in this month I just set is a Jan, or just whatever value you want, like complete value, right? So just set it over here as a switch case, right? And if you're using a string value, right? So in this case you have to declare, instead of integer, you can just declare whatever that value, like for example Jan, you can set as a Jan, and it is setting January, right? Similar, you can just set it a Feb, and it is a February, right? And then just make it to March, so it is just March, right? And then finally invalid month, right, as like this guy. So as of now I just set it January, so it should be print out to January. So let me run it and see in action. Let me run this application. Now see, it's printing January, right? So like this way also you can just define. Similar, if I just pass something which is not matching, so it should be give us that invalid value, like for example see in action. Now see, invalid month, right? So this is the way. So now if I talk about a concept in a one line, in a short, for this switch case statement. So the switch statement provides an alternative to multiple if else condition when checking a variables a value, right? So we can avoid this, like see, this whatever we are trying to achieve over here, that we can easily achieve over here as well, right? So but in switch case we can avoid this, if else, like suppose for example, if I run this, if I implement in a if else condition, so definitely I have to record 4 time or 5 time if else condition, like if it is match this guy, so return this. If else return matches this guy, so it will return this. So in this case, every execution, actually every time they will checking all the place, right? So there's a that's why actually we comes in the switch case and default concept, like whatever that switch we have defined over here, if it is match over there, so it will directly bind to that condition. It will not try to match any other condition. That will direct to match to that condition and returning back to the output, right? So that's why actually we are using this concept in this C#. Okay, now moving to another concept that is called while, do while, or for loop, right? So this is that concept, like while, do while, and for loop. And let me see in a practical example. So first I will just declare as a for loop, and it is first actually we have to define integer as a value. So this is a value variable, and this variable will match over here. Let me less than let me decrease that value to 10 to 5, and then increment. Okay, inside this loop I will just print out the value, for example this, right? So what will happen and how actually working this loop? Now see, I define as a for loop, right? What will checking first they will checking, okay, what is that initial value of this particular variable? So it is particular variable is 0, and thus it is 0, right? And then 0 is greater than is 5, no, that means it is match the condition. Then it is come inside over here, it will print out this guy, right? And once you print this guy, it will be increase over here 1 plus or sorry, it is a 0, right? So 0 plus 1, right? Because it is plus 1 increment. So what will happen? It will be equal to 1. So next time this value would be, instead of 0, it would be 1. And once you 1, again it will checking, it will match, it is less than 5, right? I is less than 5. So what will happen? Again it will print is 2, right? And then again same thing is following again and again. So this is actually loop. So like this way it will working in a loop. So let me run this application and see in action. See, whatever just I showing this output, right? So see, first time they printing 0 because first time is a 0, then second time is 1 because it is then increment, then again increment, and once I match this increment is 5, so 5 is less than 5, right? So this condition is false, so that time it is not going to inside this loop, it is exit from that loop and close that program, right? Like this way actually working that for loop. Now another concept is while loop, right? Similar concept, like they are iterating that all that iteration, but definition or define the way is little slightly different. So let me go to that next concept, which is a while loop. So how we can declare that while loop condition? So first again we have to use the j, like declare the value over here first, and then using that while. And in this while let me check this condition, whatever checking this condition, right? So similar condition we have to check it over here, like j less than 5, and then whatever that printing, I just simply is printing over here, like if it is match the condition, so I need to print this value. And after that, once I printing this value, I need to just increase that value, whatever I just increasing, right? So now see, initialize value, I initialize value, condition checking, I condition checking, but using this while, and then increment, I just increment, right? So this is the way to using the while loop. Again the iteration, the statement, and then run this application again. And now see, while loop again, just for loop is like the for loop is working, same thing is working for while loop, but slightly different the syntax, right? Similar another concept which is do while. So let me again initialize k, right? And then this time instead of while we have to use do, because inside the do I have to printed the value. So let me print out that values do while, like using that k. So first time is came and it will print as 0, and then what I will try to do, I will just increment, and once I increment, then finally inside do they will check the while, like if it is k is less than 5, then until greater than 5 or less than 5, so it will going to the loop, right? And just simply again run this application and see, do while also is working as a same output, but slightly different and the syntax is changes, right? Like this way we can use as a loops. And if I talk about a concept for this loop, like while loop, do while loop, so in a one line in a short, so loops are used to repeat blocks, like we are repeating this blocks, right, of the code a specific number of the time or until a condition is not met, right? So that is actually the concept of this loop. Now moving to another concept, which is a break and continue. So let me see in a practical what that means, break and conditions. Okay, so as we just use this loop, right? So if I want to break some particular conditions, right, so that time I have to use that break. And if I want to skip something, so that time based on the condition, so I have to use that continue. Okay, so let me see in a practical. So let me create a loop again, right? For examples, I'll just taking the same loop, right? So let me use this loop and go down, and just over here just remove everything, because I want to just print out this value only. So let me print out this value, but before print out, what I want to set over here, like, so I will use the if conditions, right? And in this if condition I will try to match, like if match this condition, like if match I equal to 3, then I want to stop this loop, right? So let me just stop this loop, and that's it, right? So once until match this condition, loop will be executed, but after match this condition it will break, and rest of that number will not be printed, right? So let me see in actions. Now see, it is printing 0 1 2, because 3 is match. After that 4 is not printed because it is break from here. So that is called as a break concept. And then let me copy as a continue, copy as a for loop, and then use this continue. So let me, instead of this, let me use that continue. Okay, and same conditions, but I just use this continue. And in this continue, what will happen, let me see in actions, so that I can explain better. So run this application again, and now see, this time again, so okay, let me break it over here so that we can differentiate. Okay, break, right, and save it and run this application. Okay, so now see that break before break it is just printing 2, but after break what happened, starting 0, that is fine, and yeah, then 1 also fine, 2 is also fine. But see, once it comes in down in 3, what happened, it is just skipping that part, because once it over here this continue and skipping this complete loop and increasing that value, and then finally it's come again to 4, and rest of that iteration it is printing over there, right? So the concept over here, that break and and continue, the break exists the loop, right? And while continue skipping that current iteration and move to the next one, right? So this is that concept actually. So that's all for this session, right? And for next session we'll come for another concept which is called array. Now we will learn in this session as a arrays concept. So right click on that, add a new project which is called console application, and here let me make it this name, the array, right? So it is part 5, so I define as a part 5. Next I'll just keep it same, and that's it, right? And then remove that so that I can start from the scratch, right? So what is array? Array are used to store multiple value of the same type, right? So let me see in a practical example. So for example, how we can declare and initialize that array. So if I use the integer, and this is that syntax, like, and in here let me use as a numbers, and in this numbers let me define some value, like some initialize that value, like for example 1 2 3 4 5, right? Like this way you can just initialize the value, right? And then if I want to print out of any of that any of the value from that index, right? So that I can use it, like for example number, and then if you just use define over here, like I want to index 2, right? And then that's it, right? So let me debug, like, because it is just understand the concept. Definitely I require the debug mode, so that will run this application and debug this mode. Okay, so it is running a previous application, so let me moving to that our current application, right? And run again, and now see it is reaching over here, but nothing is printing because as of now it is not execution this line. So now see, if you expand this guy, so whatever that array you are just defined right over here, so you are able to see, like in 0 index it is starting actually index of 0, whatever that first value, then 1 2 3 4 till 4 as a index, but value is 5, right? So like this way. But what I am trying to print, I just printing index 2. So what would be the print over here? Index 2, that means 0 1 2. So this is a 2, that means value should be print out is 3. So let me run this application, and once you run, you are able to see the print, the value is 3, right? So like this way actually we can initialize declare and initialize that array. It is a called a single dimension array. There's another concept is a two dimensional, but before that I am just telling you that that one line concept. What is the concept of array? So concept as an array, like an array hold that multiple elements of the same types, right? Because it is the same types, and you can access them via a index, right? So you can use also using that index to get that value. So this is actually concept of that array, single dimension array. Similar, if I just talk about another concept which is a multi-dimension. So let me show you. Look, see, this is a multi-dimension array. So how I can just use it, right? How we can just declare that. So again similar what I just declare over here, right? So similar I can declare over here like integer, and then this time again I using this bracket, and this time instead of this single make it two dimension, you just using a comma, so that this is a make it a two dimension array, and make it as a matrix over there, like as a variable. And in this matrix let me use same way, but it should be a two dimension, right? So this is that one dimension, and this is another, means one of that, a row. So this is a row, and this is actually the first row, and this is a second row, right? And if I talk about the column, like for example, see, this is a first column, it is a second column, right? And then similar, this is a first row, this is a two column, then again this is a second row which contain that another first column, and this is a second column, right? Like this is a again initializing that two dimension array. And then if I want to again get that value from that particular row and column, so how we can get it? Simply using that matrix, and using this way, same way, like which row you want. Like suppose I want second row, right? So for the second row, so index would be 1, because always index is starting 0, right? So I will want to second row, so this is second row. And then if I want to which value, which column I want, so I want to column, this is a two column, like 0 and 1, so I want to 0 column, right? So let me define a 0 column. And similar, let me copy another, like I want to now this time I just take it a second row, but this time I will take it the first row. This is the first row, and that column would be second column, right? So 1, right? So it should be output, like for example, see, it should be 3 over here, and it should be like it is a 0, so that means 0 means this first one and this 2. And let's see in output. Now see, 3 and 2, right? So that is perfect. So like this way actually we can define our multi-dimension array. In a one line, if I talk about the concept of this guy, so multi-dimension array are used to represent tables or matrix, like 2 into 2 or something like that, right? So that's why actually we are using this concept in C#. So that's all for this session, and for upcoming session we will learn like methods. What are the methods in C#? Now we will start or moving methods. So what are the methods and all. So let me create a new applications over here, create a new console applications, and here let me create a project name which is a part 6 methods. Next, create and remove everything from here. So before I start, I would like to share the definition of that methods. So what are the methods? Methods are blocks of the code designed to perform a specific task. They can take a parameter and return types. So what are the methods, how we can declare the methods, and what are the return types, and how we can assign the parameter and all. So those are things we will learn over here. So let's see in a practical example. So first what I will do, I will just create a method over here, like for example static, right? Static and void. So this is, I just mentioned as a void, that means this is not returnable type, so that means call it's a void. Okay, and I have to set a name, like whatever method name, as like we define a variable, like similar I can define as a name as a method name. Like for example, if I just create a method which is called is that greet user, right? And this is that parenthesis which we can pass a parameter and non-parameter as well. So now I will passing as a parameter over here, like this method accept as a parameter that is called as a name, right? And in this name, so whatever name, I will just return a back to a I just want to print a that I want to concatenate the name and just print out as an output, right? So let me just adding over here, for example, whatever the name, I will using the interpolations, and I use that hello, and that using that whatever the input name I want to print out. So this is the way actually that declare the method with the parameter. And also if I want to create another method, like for example, see the method with this without parameters, so I can use it like this way, like for example this, right? And I can just simply whatever things I want to print out, like for example hello world, right? So now see, this is the declaration method, but this time I have not I'm not giving any parameter, but this time I'm just passing a parameter, right? So those acceptable in this C# method concept, like we can create a method without parameter as well as with the parameter, right? So this is the way declare a parameter. And now let me call this method in our over here. So how we can call it this method? Simply I can call it this method over here, and now see it is asking also, see once I call this method, it is asking to the name as an input field, right? So once I name, like for example Karthik, right? Once I Karthik, and let me run this application. So before run this application, just select our current project, which is a method part 6, and run this application. And once you run this application, now see whatever that input parameter I pass it Karthik, so they are concatenating over here, like as a input name, concatenating here as a printing over there, right? So this is way actually we can declare as a parameter and without parameter method and without return type. So this is a call a return types. So now let me call or let me create another method which is a return type. So this is a not return type, so which will not returning anything. So right now see, if you see void, that means it is not return type. So now I have to create a return type method. So how we can create that? So again using same like a static, and this time if I want to return type, so definitely I have to required set that data type. So this is a data type which will be return this method as like we have defined in our variable, right? So similar fashion I have to do that integer, and I will use add numbers, and then this also return type we can create a both way with the parameter and without parameter. So I will use a parameter one like a, like integer b, right? And in here whatever logic I want, I just adding a logic over there, right? And simply I have to specify a return, right? So like this way you can declare as a return type method as well, right? So let me call this method again over here, and this time see once I use this guy and also expecting this a and b, right? So let me pass for example 8 and 5, right? So this is our input value 8 and 5, and this time this will returning a integer. Like see, this time it is returning an integer, so I can store as a variable as over here integer total, right? And just store over here, and what I can do, I can simply print out this total as a console output. That's it. And now once I run this application, I will see that output is 8 and 5, it's 13. That means this function is working as expected, whatever our calculations, right? So like this way we can use this method, right? Like we can declare a method, we can initialize a method, and we can use that return type and non-return type as well. So this is the way we can declare a method. Now there's another concept over here, method overloading. Like for example, if I want to create a one method same name, but it should be different parameter, right? But name would be same but signature would be different. That is called a method overloading. And before that concept, actually first I will tell you that now the method concept in a one line, in a short, right? So method allowed to reuse the code. So this method, whatever method we are creating, so it is allowed to reuse the code, right? And you can pass data to the method through the parameter as we are passing over here, right? And get the result back with the return type. So whatever the data, if I want to get the data as a return type, so I can get back to as a return type. That is the whole concept of this method. Now moving to next concept, which is called a method overloading. So what is method overloading? So for method overloading, actually I have to create a class. So that class concept will become in an intermediate concept, but yeah, as of now I just simply create a class over here, and like for example I can make it any name like my name or my class name, right? So this is a class. Inside that, because see, if I just create without class as a method, so I am not able to create the duplicate method. So for example, let me show you. Like see, if I copy paste over here and just using integer c, right? So if I using this guy, now see, it is saying add number is already defined, right, in this scope. So this is a scope. Inside this scope it is defined, that's why it is not allowed to me. So for this, what I need to do, I have to just create another class, and in this class I will just create a method. For example, let me create a method, it's the same add number, but I will use this time a method overloading add number with the two input field, right, a and b, right? And but again, if I just copy this method over here, so it is saying it is ambiguity is already defined. But once I use integer c, so now see, the error has been gone and it is allowed to overload this method. And what I will do, I just put our additional logic over here, whatever our logic, and return back to that data. And how we can call it this method, this particular class method? So what I can do, simply here I can call it to simply I can use this console write line, and whatever that my name class, right? And here see, it is showing one method, right? But it is saying one overload also over there, right? So that means let me add this guy, and once you add, now see, you're able to see this two overload method over here, right? One is, let me show you one more time, like this guy. Now see, once you click this guy, once you up this guy up, it is allowed to me two method, two parameter, like integer a and b. But once you use this method, same method, but it is as accepting three parameter, right? So let me add first one, let me pass this two parameter. So like for example 6 and 10, right? And yeah, close this, and similar copy this guy, and this time 6 10, and this another parameter I will add in another 10, right? So this should be written like 6 10 equal means it is 16, and this one should be returning 10 10 20 26, right? So let me see in action. So now see, 16 is that output of this guy, and 26 is output of this overload method, which has three parameter. The two parameter is 16, three parameter is 26, right? So this is the way we can achieve, or we can use this overload method. So overall, if I talk about the concept in a one line, in a short, so method overloading allow you to define the multiple method with the same name, as I declare the same name, right? But different parameter. So different parameter, it should not be a same parameter. Like suppose I am using the two parameter, it should be 3, or it should be like data type like integer, so it should be a double or something, like signature should be a different, but name should be a same. So this is the way we can achieve this concept, right? And yeah, that's all for this session. And for upcoming session, we will learn for that comments. What are the comments in C# concept in beginner series? So now we are moving to another concept, which is comments. So let me create another console application and just make it over here, and just make this guy as a part 7, and concept of C# with the comments. Let me create it and create that guy. So before start to practical, so what are the comments? So comments are used to add a notes or explanation in the code, and this can be multiple things, like we can a single line comments, multiple line comments, and a documentations comments, like using a XML and all. So let me try to see how we can comments the code for the documentations perfectly. So first, let me suppose the hello world, right? I just put some logic, and this is like hello world, right? And if I want to declare this code, suppose this is a code, right? And also, yeah, let me just try to one more things, like integer a, right? And integer a is 10, or integer b is 11, right? And if I want to declare what are these, right? So these are variable type, like so how we can declare those things as a comment? So we can declare as a comment. Now see, this is the way, like doubles backslash, right? And if okay, so let me remove first, let me add something, like for example data declare data type, and declare data type, right? Declare variable and data type. So variable and data type. So if you add without commented code, it is not accepted, right? So it is saying some compile time error. So let me build it. So if you build it, this application, definitely you will get this error, right? Why it's error? Because it is asking, it is not accepting this C# IDE, because it is they're treating as a something like whatever syntax they expecting the syntax in this code snippet, right? So how we can declare as a comments in the particular section? So this is the one way, the inline comments. So there is call a inline comment. So one, if you use a double backslash, so you can just comment it this code and you can declare, okay, what actually this code is does, right? So this code is just basically what we have done, the declare variable and data types. So we are declare a variable and data types. So this is a single line code, right? And there's another concept of that commented code, like we have mechanism where we can just comment in multiple line. Now see, this is the single line comments. Again, if I use something else, like for example another variable, right? Another variable. So again, what I can do, I can again single line comments over there, like one by one line I can do that. But suppose I have a paragraph, like for example this is a paragraph, right? And similar I have another line, right? So I want to comment it all three line together, right? So how we can do that? So that time what I can do, like suppose for example take it over here, there's two line. So how can comment multi-line? So there's another way, using backslash and star and then close over here, again star plus star and then backslash. Now see, now this time, okay, let me remove this guy. So now see, there is no error. I can run this application. Okay, now it is not part 6, it is part 7. So close that, moving to this part 7 and run this application. Now see, application got running. I'm getting that output hello world with no error, because I just adding this multi-line and single line commented over here, right? So this is the way, single line comment, multi-line comments. And now we have another way which we can add documentations comments. So how we can do that? So suppose I just create a method, as like we create as a method like static void and greet user, right? So let me greet user, create a method without parameter, and this parameter simply I just print out hello, right? In this hello, so this is the method, and in this method I want to define some some documentations comments. So how we can declare that? So what you need to do, simply 1 2 3 backslash. So you can just use the 3 backslash, but as of now it is not declaring over here. I guess is required a class. So let me just create a class again, class my name, right? And just inside this class I using this method, and then I will try to add those comment over here. Now see, once I add 3 time backslash, so automatically it will be generated over here, like whatever the summary, and it is end summary. And here you can define what kind of method as a documentation, so that anybody use this class in other other assembly or other project, so they can see, okay, this is that method and what purpose of this method I can set as a documentation comments over there as like this. So these are 3 way. So yeah, that's all for this session. But yeah, in upcoming session we will learn like basic input output. Now we are moving to another concept, which is a basic input and output. So let me just create another console app over here, new application console app, and here the part of this concept, like part 8, and it is a basic input output. Next, create and just remove everything over here. And yeah, so what is the basic input output? So in C#, the console class is used for basic input and output operations, like console input and output, right? So how we can do that? Let's see in a practical example. So this is a console write line, right, which I already use on many of the place. So if I enter the name, right, so this is just a printout, right, so this is a output of that. And if I want to input, so this is output, right, so if I run this application, let me change to this and run this application, you will get this enter your name, right, so this is the output. So how we can get an input from there? So for this we have to just required as a string, like if you use the string and then declare as a variable, and then using this console dot read line, right, so in this read line actually they are taking as a input. And then finally if I want to again output this particular name, so I can simply using the interpolations over here. So let me add interpolations, for example hello, whatever name as a input, like hello John, hello name, right, so whatever name it's getting over here, so I can print out over here, right. So let me run this application now and see. Now see, it is asking to enter a name, and also it is a blinking, so that means you can allow the name over here, like for example John, right. And once you hit enter, now see, you are getting that value, that hello John, which is that, right. So whatever input you are getting over here, so you can just using in our over here. So this is called actually input and output in our console app, right. And as a conceptual wise, it is a just console read line as a take as a input, right, and from that user, and console route line output information to that console. That's it, right. So that's all for this session, and for next session we will learn like on a exception handling. Now we have to moving another concept, which is exception handling. So let me create another new application of console application over there, and just create a name of that application, like part 9 in exception handling. Create that, create, and just remove everything. So before start implementation, we have to I have to tell you that what is that exception handling. Exception handling are used to handle error gracefully without crashing the programming. Okay, so this is a declaration, this is definitions. So let me try to understand as a practical example. So first I will try to I will show you like the concept of try and then catch, and then finally. So these are the way to use that exception handle. So first I will use two variable. We'll just create a two variable over here, like one is total and then is a 0, right. And then what I can do, I will use another variable over here, integer result, and in this result, like whatever the total I want to divide to 0, right. So once I try to this guy, right, definitely I will get an error. And suppose let me run this application. So before that, select this guy and run this application. Now see, I'm getting one error. Now it is saying attempt to divide by 0 is exception, right. So I'm getting that exception, and also it is crash your application. So that actually avoiding using that try catch and finally or handling the exception in C#. So how we can handle that exception using this? So in this case, what I will do, which part if you think okay this part can be thrown exception, so I will use wrap this guy as a try. So use this syntax over there, like try, this is a try block and this is an exception block. So whatever execution our program, we will keep it in this try. So let me add try over there, right. And once you try over there and whatever exception over here, so this is actually main exception, right. So before that also we have a child exception, like whatever exact exception we have seen, right. So for example, as I see, like while running this application, I see one of that divide by 0 exception. So those also we can just declare over here, for example, divide by, or just using divide. Yeah, see, the divide by zero exception, or you can just use this here as an exception. So you can see there's a many exceptions class over there, so those are, we can use it as a child exception. But at the end, in this try catch, we have to use that final exception over here. This is actually final exception. Suppose if I meet any exception, that will goes to over here first, like divide exception, right? Divide exception, divide zero exception, and let me add like for example divide, right? And repeat over here, and we can just simply create a console write line, or we can add a log and over here. So in real world example, actually we have to add, so if any exception over here, we can just add a log, so that I can see in a log like, okay, what kind of exception we are getting over there, right? So similar, we will just use over there. So whatever exception we trying to log it over here, like for example this guy. And in this divide exception, now see, there's a couple of method over there. So in this T, now see, it is a message, stack trace, inner exception, many things. So I will just put it over here as a message, so that it will tell you that what exact the error actually thrown in this code, so that will capture and show it in the output. And also it is a final exception, right? So we can just add it over here as well. Like suppose it is not match over here, so it's definitely unhandled exception, we will match it over here, it will show it over here. So let me add it over there. And then finally we are using as a finally block. So every code, like see, this is a execution, right? So if any execution, so it will got it over here and return back over here, but there is a called as a finally block that will always called the finally block in this execution. So that is called actually finally block, so that we can clean up any resource and all whatever we define, right? So those things we can do that. So let me just, as of now, for the example, I just using as a just code cleanup execution, right? In real world example, actually this final block we record, suppose I initialize that connection and all. So if I getting the connection, so whatever I initialize that connection and all, those should be close on clear that clean that resources. So that's why we are using that finally block. So let me use that finally block over here like this way, and let me breakpoint over here. Let me run this application and see in a practical example. And see, if you execute over here, now see, this will execute. And let me debugger point over here and over here and over here as well. Okay, and once you F10, now see, I'm getting 0 by exception, and it is reaching over here and it is done. And once you're done, now see, it is not going to over here, because we are getting that accurate exception over here that we are handling over here, but it is going to finally block, because this is always execute after this. If I getting exception or non exception, always going to this final block. So this is the way our concept actually. So run this one, and once you run, now see, this time your application not got crash, just whatever your logging message, it is logging and successfully execute your application, right? So this is actually way, and this is a beauty also, like using try catch and finally. So and if I talk about overall concept of that in a one line, in a short, so try executes the code that you may cause an error, right? So that this cause an error, that's why we are using in this try. And catch handle the error, like whatever the catch, we can handle the error. And finally ensure that some code runs no matter what, right? So this is that actually we always try to run, suppose it is exception or non-exception, both case, right? So like this way actually we can handle exception. This is the one of the concept. Now another concept over here for this handle exception, that is called throw keyword, right? So let me show it over here. There's a throw keyword. So in this throw keyword, what does mean throw keyword? So in this throw keyword, suppose whatever exception we are getting over here, right? So if I want to add a throw exception based on my exception, so that actually we can utilize. Like for example, let me create a method over here, static and void, and suppose validate age, right? So validate age, and in this validate age, I'm just input as a age, input age, and in here I'll be checking over here if is age is suppose 18, right? So it is less than 18. So what I will do, not a if block actually. So yeah, we can if block also, we can delete that. We can throw new exception over here, and we can pass, okay, age must be 18 or older, right? So if it is less than 18, so it will throw this exception. This is a forcefully I'm telling you, right? And what I will do, so I will just create again try catch again over here, and just put out some exception, and just write it that exception message over here, and whatever that code I want to execute, I want to code execute this guy. So execution this guy, and suppose less than 17, right, or 17. So in this case definitely it will meet this condition, and it will throw this condition, this error, right? Like this way also we can use it. And similar we can use, like suppose if I getting any exception over here, so I can throw as well over here, like okay, throw exception, whatever unhandled exception, so I can return back to exception as well, right? So let me run this guy. So this time I should get this 17, means this age should be must, this guy. So run this guy, and okay, so let me put it debugging point here as well. So continue this guy, continue this guy, now continue this guy. Now see, I'm getting over here. Now once you reach this method, definitely it will call this guy, and see, I'm matching this condition, so it will throw this exception, continue this exception, and you will get, see, age must be 18 and older, right? And if I just change this guy to 19, definitely I should not get that exception. So run this application and continue this application, and if you see the output, now see, only execution till here, right? So this is the way uh, to achieve this, through exception and all, right? So this is actually complete concept of this beginner concept of C#. And in upcoming session we'll create those concept, like the whole concept. I will just create a whole concept and create a real world example, which is hotel management system. Include this concept, I will build a hotel management system. So let me create a new project over here, new project, and make it a console application. Go there, and I need to create name it like something hotel management system, right? So let me add as a hotel management system. And if I talk about part wise, so yeah, it is part 9. Yeah, previously it's part 9, so I'll just put is part 10, and it is a hotel management system, correct? And then simply next, and I will put it default settings and all over here, right? And next. So now my application got created, and I need to select my my hotel management project over here. And once you select it, now I have to remove this and delete this guy. So yeah, just remove that, all that old codes, right? And we'll do that from scratch. So first of all, what I need to do, I have to just declare some variables, right? So these are some concept of the variable which I already cover. This is part one. So how we can define as a variable. So it's simple, but yeah, I don't want to write a code, but yeah, let me just concept wise telling you, like, let me define as a variable. So this is a defined variable concept. So I required for this hotel management system few of that variables, like for example, like room number, room price, guest name, and room booked, right? So whatever room I need to booked, so I just store as a room booked, and then whatever that I just taking as a some random number for the room numbers which we have available in these systems, and then whatever that price, according to that particular room, so that I have to store. So these are the types as a variable, and types we have to declare like this way for these applications, right? And then once I done, so now I have to use another concept which is basic input and output, right? So how we can declare that? So let me just uh, it down over here. So this is that basic input output concept. So for that basic input output, as I shown you as a demo, so they are asking some information like welcome to the hotel management system, and then we have to give some option to user as well, right? So how we can define like this way, simply just console write line, just option 1, option 2, option 3, and option 4, right? So these are concept of basic input and output. And also we have to add one more input, like please choose an options 0, 1 to 4, right? So whatever options I have to provide, I'll to give it to here. And then another concept also, basic input, like as an input, like see, this is that output, right? Whatever I want to use that console write line, it will show as an output. But once if I want some input from user, so I have to require new console.read line, and this read line actually take as an input and store it this variable, right? So this is as a, we can say, as a user input, right? So as of now, this is fine, like we have to use this concept and we have to use this concept, and then this guy, right? So there's another concept also we have already learned. This is some that, yeah, control flow, right? So which have switch case and all. So why we require switch case over here? Like suppose for example, as of now I'm just running. Okay, let me run this application so that you can understand better. So let me run this application. So once I run this application, now see, you will see it is asking me giving that options. Okay, these and this, and just choose that your options. So let me I choose this, like suppose 2, right? So once I take as a 2, but as of now I have not I have taken option 2, but I have to pointing this particular function, right? So this function implementation we have to point based on this input, right? So that's why we have to require the switch case statement, so that I'll take as an input whatever input is match. So the based on the matching, I have to point out that particular function which I have to write to complete those function, right? So for here, that's why I have to require switch case statement. So let me define as a switch case statement over here, and I will write as a switch case code over here, like I already in here, but yeah, so I'll tell you, I'll take as an input. So input is the switch case over here, and in this switch case I have to define some whatever that case. If it is matched, suppose this case is matched B1, so here let me break it over here first. Okay, so if match this guy, so what should we do? I simply, as of now, let me just print out as a message, right? But yeah, later on I'll just implement now the function, so that particular function will execute and it will work accordingly, right? But yeah, as of now just I will just pass it as a method, for example, method for booking, right? And then similar, so what would be the next case? Next case would be no, view room availability. So similar, we just copy paste over here and just change it to 1 to 2, case 2, and it should be show that all that whatever the room is available in this current applications. So let me just print out this one. Now third one would be checkout. So whatever now who are check out this, which room are check out, that will be maintained in this case number 3, like is case number 3, or we can say option is 3, right? And just method for checkout will check out over here. Okay, and now the fourth one would be like let me just copy again. So it is a fourth case, fourth options, that would be like exit, right? So now if user want to exit, so user can press 4 and then can exit. So simply we can just exit that application, right? So exit the application, right? And if suppose we are not matching any options, right? So that should be go in the default one. So that could be like as a default one. So similar, I'll use that as a default. So use the default, and inside the default we can just print it. Okay, now try it again, right? Because as of now whatever that options you have sent, that is not matched. So what we do over here, they will go to the default and just check out and just continue again, right, your application. So this is that switch case, right? So this is how actually we can implement, but in real world example we using as a options, right? Whatever the option I'll using as a switch case. And let me run this application and see, because parallelly we have to check it. Okay, what are the implementation we have done, so how look like, right? So let me run it. And if you run this application now, see, it is showing that options, like whatever options over here. So one for book, second for this. So let me just press 1. So if you want, so it is just appearing this guy method for booking. That means whatever you choose option, it will go that case, and whatever implementation, as of now we didn't start the implementation, but yeah, little bit later we will start also implementation each of section, right? But yeah, for demonstration perspective I'm showing over here, like once I press 1, so it will go inside this one, and once I press 2 it will go inside and that, right? So now before implementations of that particular method, right? So I would like to add one more concept that is called that uh, that is called over here, we can say loop, right? So there's a loop section. If you watch out my all the section, so we'll use a loop so that this application should be continue, because as of now we saw what I press 1, so it is exit, right, this application. So I want to continue till user not input as a exit, forcefully not said as okay I want to exit, right? So for this what I need to do, I have to use do while. So if you already know, so it would be help for you, but yeah, I'll just implement over here like how we can introduce as a do while. So let me use a do and just wrap this whole over that till over here, like this is do, and then use that while and just make it, as of now I just make it as true, but I'll just set as a based on this condition I'll want to exit. So as of now this, once I add as a true, so it is running always, right? So it will continue until the user not exit, right? So but yeah, as of now it will continue again. So let me run and show it to you what I mean, right? So let me run it again. So once you run, now see, once you run, now let me put 1. So if I 1, now see, once I put a 1, it is going to that section, and again it is continue, right? So it is not exit that application, right? So that's how actually we have to do in do while over here. So simply if I use 3, so again see, it is running, right? And once I use 4, it should be exit, because as of now I'm not implemented, but yeah, it should be exit. So that how we will implement. So let me close and let me decide. Okay, so if only once user choose this, enter the 4, it should be exit this application, otherwise it should be continue running, right? So for that, what I need to do, simply I have to just create a variable, and we have to maintain this variable again over here before the do while. Okay, so here the do while. So let me create a variable over here, right? So is a valid choice, and just mention this valid choice over there in this while section. And by default, see, by default it's true, but where you want to exit, so that time you have to just set it over here. Like suppose in set over here false, right? Because I want to exit for this option, this false. So let me run it and show it in a practical action. So now see, once I choose 1, it is running. Once I do 2, it is running. Once I 3, it is running. But once I just put a random number, also it is running. But once I choose 4, now see, it's got exit, right? Now exit the application and break this application. So now application got breaked using this 4. So now this is also another approach. This is the do while which I use. So now I will start another approach, which is create a function. So whatever function I'll just implement in this C# beginner concept, so that I will create and use it, so that you can understand actually what we how we can create it and where I need to use, right? So first I'll just implement this guy, like booking booking room, right? So here ideally in real world example, without console application, you have to just create a class. Inside class you have to create a method and all, but yeah, just for here starting point of view, I'll just create over here as a function. So let me just create a function that is called room book, right? So create a function with this parameter. So don't worry about that, I'll tell you what are the parameters over here. So in this function I'll take a integer as a room number, whatever the room number I want to booked, right? So and also what is the guest name, and this is a complete room, whatever that room booking array over there, so that I have to pass it. And this is the room numbers, whatever room numbers currently we have, so those are things we have to pass it. And then finally we have to also we have to pass that room price, right? So these are parameter actually required to create this book function. So let me implement one by one. So first of all, I'll just create a variable which I just store whatever that room number, right? So then let me just store over here. And if you observe, I'll just use the ref keyword. So this ref keyword basically whatever you just pass as a parameter, and if you want to manipulate over there, and if you want to out that whatever that manipulation number, so that actually you can using the ref keyword, so that you can use that outside this method, right? That's why I'm using the ref over here. So yeah, first I just adding over here. Then what I can do after that room number, I need to just check. Okay, so if whatever try to book this room, like suppose I pass that 101, right? So that room is already booked or not, so that I need to check it over here. So let me just showing over here what we are trying to do. I'm just trying to do over here if selected room is already booked or not, so that I have to check it. So how we can check it? It's simple. I have to use this as a if conditions. So in this if conditions, I have to use as an array, right? And in this array there's a function actually which is exist, and in this exist function I have to check whatever room booked. So this is that room booked array over here we are passing over here. So this is a complete booking, whatever booking I have, so that all information is stored in this room booked array, right? So in this room booked array, and then I'm using a lambda functions over here. So let me just create a lambda function, and whatever that room selected number, so I have to use it over here. So let me add over here this, I use the lambda function, and in this lambda function use that element, and whatever this particular element, right, in this room booked, so that I have to match it over here if it is match or not. If it is match, so that means your room is booked already, right? And if it is booked, so simply I just return back over there, like, yeah, room is already booked, and return to this function till over here. Okay, if it is succeed, means it is not whatever room I just choose which is not match, right? So that means this room is not booked. So in this case, what I will do, next step would be over here, I'll ask or just, either way, like, we can ask as a input, like, as a guest name, right? So we can take as a guest name over there. So let me take a input as a guest name, whatever that guest name. So I just take as an input over here, enter your guest name, and then I'll check, I'll show actually whatever the rooms is available now for this particular section, right? So suppose while room booking, definitely I want to see like what are the room I have, what are the price I have, and what are the room is available. So those things I have to show it over here before the booking the room. And yeah, let me show that output as over here, like, okay, available rooms, this is that available rooms. And in this available rooms, I'll just use a for each loop, or for loop over there. I already explained how we can use it, a for loop. So suppose I have a room numbers, right? So this is a room numbers. Where is my room number collection? So see, this room number properties contain all that rooms which is have in this current system, right? So I want to iterate this room number and I'll show it over here, this room number along with that price and all, right? So for that, simply I have to use a for each loop or for loop. Let me just create a for loop over here, and in here, now see, room number, I'll just check the room number and start for 0, and whatever that room number in this array, I'll just print it over here, right? So before printed, I also want to check like, it should not be exist, right? So whatever that room, it should not be as a exist, or it is not booked, right? Which I already checked it, but yeah, for safe side, you can check it again over here, right? So what I can do again, I can simply use that array function, right? And over here, and actually basically what we are trying to check over here, so same things like what I did earlier. So whatever room already booked, suppose I have in this hotel has a 10 rooms, right? But 2 is booked, so I'll just exclude those room, and I want to show rest 8 room which is available. So that's how actually we have just using array exist, which is not equal to, and match that rooms, whatever rooms actually it is available, right? And then we have to print out those rooms over here along with their price, right? So now this is that rooms, and this is that price, this is that rooms, actually this is that price, right? So room price also we have in this method, and the top, okay, let me just bring back this method parameter so that you can easily see it. Now see, this is that rooms price and rooms, right? So those actually we have just manipulate over here, and we have to print out whatever available rooms, right? So now we have complete this section, so that whatever room available, it will show it over here. And next, what I need to do, I have to select that rooms for that user. So let me use over here the select room, like as the room, whatever, like after showing, suppose it will print out 10 rooms, right? And which room you want to booked it, right? So that room you can choose it over here. So for that, you can just, we require as an input from that user, like, okay, which room you want to input. So I'll use a input output concept over here. So take as a input parameter select room, user will be select that room, and once you select, now the final sections over here, we are booked the rooms. Okay, so before the book room, again we will check, like, if the room number is valid and not already booked. So there's two things actually we have to check it. So let me explain over here. Now see, in this section we will check, right? So before book, always we have to check like as a condition. So same condition which I already done, like we use over here as a it's booked or not, and also it should not be exist on that particular section, right? So this two section we have to check over here together, right? So now first I'm checking, okay, it is not booked, and also whatever room, it should be exclude, right? So it is not valid. Okay, so like that way, like suppose I'm asking, okay, now I'm showing that 8 room which is number 1 to 10, but I am entering something like, okay, 105, right, which is not exist in our list, so that also will avoid to book that room, right? So that those are condition actually we will match over here. And then what I need to do, I have to just now resize the room array to add that selected room. Okay, so let me add over here, so that, so what I can do, simply I have to resize that array. So I'll using that array dot resize, and whatever that room booked, right? So we have to just room book dot length plus 1. So I'll just resize that array, and after that resize that array, what I can do, I have to assign that array in that whatever room I am just trying to book, right? So for in this case over here, simply whatever room book collections, that room books -1, and then whatever room I have just try to book, I'm just assigned to this room booked array. That's it, right? So once you booked that room, means this section will complete, I'll show to user, okay, your room has booked successfully with this room number and this guest name, right? Else we'll just print, okay, suppose those are, not match, like this condition is not match. In this case, that means something is happening, and room is all room can be invalid, or room is already booked, right? So this is how actually we have to implement as a function, right? And this function simply I have to call over here. That's it, right? So this is the way we can just simply call this method, right? And I'll just use this method over here, and yeah, let me remove this one because we don't record that. Okay, so now see, just room, whatever room number, guest name, because we want to return back to over here, that's why we have to using this ref keyword. And this is the room number, and this is the price, which is coming from whatever variable we have declared over there, right? So this is that, see, room number, price, and room backed array, right? And guest name and room number, so whatever things actually, so I just using over here, right? So this is how actually we will implement other place. But yeah, first I'll show you how look likes is output. So let me run this, and yeah, so let me I implement this first one. So I'll just use the first. So now see, it is asking to guest name, so my guest name, suppose Kumar, and now it will show it to you, so whatever the room is currently app, right? So these are room is available room, right, along with their price. And if I want to select, suppose 104, right, or just let me show you invalid number, for example 107, which is not exist in this room, right? So in this case, once you hit enter, you will see invalid room number which is already booked, right? Or room is already booked, so that means this is not valid number. So again, let me go to that book one, again just Kumar, and then again it will show it to you to that all number. And then once I use 104, now see, it's saying room number 104 booked successfully for Kumar, right? And how we can identify, so that's why we have to implement this guy, like view room availability, option number 2. But yeah, before that also I can show you that yeah, that I can show you, because see, before room booking always is showing that whatever that available room, right? So let me just click 1 again and enter. Suppose I want to book again 104, right? So Kumar or something, Anush, right? And then see here that room available except this 104, it is showing up, right? Because we already booked that room, so that why it is not available over here. And same things, if I just use 104, I'll get that same matches, like invalid room or room is already booked, right? So in this case room is already booked, so it will not appearing over here. So Similar, we'll move it to another function like view room availability. So close that. Now just create another function which is room availability, right? So let me go down over here and just collapse this method and just create another function which is room view availability, right? Let me create this function, and in this function again we require two things, two input parameter. One is numbers, room numbers, whatever the complete numbers, and whatever rooms are booked, right? Because based on this we'll show that see, room booked and room numbers, right? So we'll show and to user like what are the room is available or not, right? So first let me just show it as a message, okay, rooms available for booking, right? And then again we want to check over here, or before check over here actually we use another concept is a for each loop. So there's a concept for iterate that now collection. Similar things we have another one which is a for each loop. Again it will now iterate that collection, right? So here I'll use that room number and just make it as a room, right? And then what I will do, I'll just again checking like if it is already is a booked or not. So if it is booked, so let me check as a condition, if array is not exist to that particular room, right, to that element, and just compare over here that particular room. So in this case that means room is available, right? So that means if it is not match, right, if it is exclude that one, so that means it is a room available. If it is not, so that means room is already booked. So simply I can just write over here it is already booked. So that's it, right? It is simple logic, like we just iterate that all that rooms, right? And in this rooms I just simply check like array dot exist, it is not exist in this whatever the match one, so that means it is a room available. If it is match, so if it is match, so that means it is already booked, right? It's simple. And now again I'll just call this method to in our uh, here like option number 2. So replace that this new method and let me run this application. So once you run, now let me little bit bigger and just use number 2. Now see, it is showing 1010215 is available, but let me booked one room, right? So for booked one room press 1 and give that enter name, suppose Kumar, and then room number, suppose I want to book room number 105, right? And so 105, now see, room is already booked. So now I press 2, so this 2 will be choose. Once I press 2, it will go to that option number 2 and show that availability of that room. So once you click the 2, now see, whatever 105 is booked, so it's saying it is already booked, right? So now we have implement option number 2 over here. Now another function in this hotel management system, that is checkout. So whatever room I have booked, right, so that uh, someone is check out for that room hotel, so definitely they check out that particular room, so that another one come in, so they can use that room, right? So let me implement the checkout function again. So go down, minimize that, and just implement that checkout function. So for the checkout function again, you need to create another function, so that is called checkout. And again I'm just using that whatever room booked array the input parameter, and the guest name, whatever the guest name they want to check out, right? So here, so first let me just show us as output. Okay, so select as a room number, right? And as a take as a input parameter like whatever room they want to as a checkout, so I'll take as a input. And once I take as a input, then again I have to just compare over here like okay, if that room number, whatever selected room, is exist or not. So if it is exist, so that means the find that room number to remove, like, because if it is exist, then I want to remove from my current array, right? So we required find that index from that array. So how we can get it? That it's simple. We have to just use the array again, because in this array has the multiple functions. So in this array we have that index of, we pass that room booked, right? So whatever that room booked over here, I complete array, I just pass it. But whatever is the selected number I want to check out, so I just pass it over here as of for now. You can see this is a 2 parameter, right? So this is a overload function with the 2 parameter. One is that you pass that complete array and that whatever the value, so it will returning back to as a index number, that particular uh particular index of that on the array, right? So that's I can remove for here. So once I get that index, so I want to remove over here. So how we can remove? Simply I can use as a condition, like okay, index remove is greater than or just greater than equal to no, it's not right. Okay, greater than equal to 0, right? So if I found any index, so that means greater than equal to 0, then what I need to do, I have to just I need to create an array with the one less room, right? So that, let me just create that. So I just want to create an array with -1. So I'll just create this new booked room over here as an array, and then I'll just start as an index. Actually, this is that approach to remove that, uh, suppose I have a collection of that rooms, right? So I want to remove some item from there. So that's how actually we have to do that. So first I'll just create a new booked room, right, with -1, and then I have to just set as an index of 0 on that there. Then I have to just copying, actually skipping on one we want to remove, right? So that's how actually we have to use it over here. So let me just create a for each loop, or just for loop, so that whatever room booked, right? So I can just iterate over here, and just let me just find it. Okay, let me find it, whatever that index I want to remove. So it is not equal to this, right? So if it is not equal to this, then I have to assign that new, whatever that I just create a new array, right? So I have to just assign to over here that complete new array, right? So over there, like this way. And then finally I just increase that whatever that index is started of 0, I just increasing over here, so that it is iterating that complete existing room booked, and they can just store as a new room booked array, except that whatever we're trying to remove, right? So once I just create a new room booked, right, and then simply I need to update that over here, right? So this new room book which I just created newly, I just update it to that current one, right? Whatever that current I room booked, right? So that's I updated, and once I update it, that's it, right? And then simply I can show it over here, like okay, your room has been successfully removed from that book list, right? And then if in a case, suppose there is a if condition, right? So if in a case if it is not match, right? So if it is not match, so I can show it over here, like okay, no room is booked for checkout, right? So which we trying to check out. So simply I said as a message, the room is no booked for checkout. Simple, right? So once it done, now I need to call this method to on the top, right? So in my section, to go up and just simply check out over there. So now I hope all that implementation done, but yeah, I think one more I think I pretty much used that all that concept at the beginner concept, but yeah, there's a exception things over there, right? So that I am not use over here, but yeah, you can use it. Like for example, is any exception and all while doing over here any method, you can simply use a try catch block, right, over here, or like just over here try catch block, and you can just mention in this try catch block whatever the error and all. So you can use this one. Like suppose I just create a function, and in this function and before this and, right, you can just use the try catch, and you can just simply print out over here whatever that message and all, right? So that's how actually you can just use it, right? And let me print out that message, for example, over here, that exception dot message, right? Like this way you can use any method, you can wrap it to your exception, so that any method occurring any exception, so you can just capturing over there, right? So now it is done to implementation. Now let me run this application and see in action the all functionalities. So let me run this application, and my application got running. So first of all, I'll just check, okay, whatever the room is available, so I'll just put a 2, and I can see I have a 105 room which is all are available, right? So let me try to book the room. Okay, so let me try to book the room. So press 1 and just add the name, like okay, Rajesh, right, in the Rajesh. And then after you enter the room, so it will showing, okay, what are the room and price over there, available room and price. So I'll want to book that 104, which is 250. So let me 104, and 104 room is booked successfully for this, right? And if I want to check again availability of that room, so this 104 should not be appearing on that, right? So let me press a 2. So once you press a 2, so now see, it is available, it is not available, but it is showing like okay, it's already booked. So that means you can't choose that 104 next time, right? And similar, I want to check out this 104. So what I need to do, I have to use this option number 3, so which is like option number 3, then asking to the number. So if I choose that correct number, it should be check out. If I not use the correct number, it should be another message. So let me check out that invalid number, suppose 105. So 105, it is not booked, right? So once I use the 105, now see, it is saying no room is booked for the checkout, right? So that is correct. So let me just, and also I'll show you again, if you press 2, so it is showing that same room is still is booked, right? So now let me check out. So use the 3, and now I want to check out this 104. So let me 104. So once you giving the correct number, it is showing okay, room has successfully removed from that booking list, and welcome to the again list, right? So now I can check it again, that room is properly checked out or not, using press 2. So it is showing all that room is now available, means 104 now is available for that another booking, right? So now this is way, and if I choose randomly number, so it is continue that your app, right? But if you want to exit your application, exit this application, so simply you have to press 4 and application got exit, right? So now this is the way we can implement a hotel management system using these complete beginner concept, right? So that's all. But yeah, in an upcoming session I'll come with that intermediate concept along with the practical example, and then advanced concept with the practical example. So thank you, have a nice day, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share.